It's Sunday night, and you know what that means. Ringside Heat is on the air on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lex Tan, host and producer of the show. You can follow Ringside Heat at ringside_heat on all of your social media platforms, facebook.com/group/ringside heat. And as well, you can follow me at Lex Tan Media. And it is going to be a show about mostly about one man, the most electrifying man in all of sports and entertainment, and who's getting a lot of heat right now. And he knows how to bring the heat. And bringing the heat with me over here is going to be my co-host for the show, because it is a one-on-one ring crew over here at Taboada 93, sports journalist Jose Taboada. Jose, how you doing?
You got to be careful now. You got to be careful with the cuts here, because now I think as of this episode, we're finally going to be airing our stuff on YouTube, which, yes, we know 127 episodes in, we are very aware that it's overdue.
Yes.
But no, we're still trying to grow our social games. And so now if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching us on YouTube, because I know as the reels excuse me, I have to burp there. As the reels continue to come along, we're showing our faces more and more. Obviously, we need I think a visual aid. At least I've noticed that video podcasts are also a lot of fun. So we're really excited to finally get this going on YouTube. And then also as well, today's show, it's a battle of the hosts. Who's the better host, Jose Taboada or Lex Tan? So it's nice that it's just a one-on-one to really show that I'm better, which is amazing. Lex?
Well, hey man, in terms of skills and all that sort of stuff, I would say that that's for the listeners to decide.
It's fact. Well, we do got a fun show, don't we, Lex? We do have
yes, we do, and this is, and we're coming off the heels of this mind-blowing Friday that we just experienced just a couple of days ago, and that all started with The Rock putting up a 20-minute promo on his Instagram.
Unreal.
Yeah,
oh
exactly. A 20-minute promo on his Instagram, basically, and this is something that you were asking about, that you wanted, Jose. You wanted The Rock, you wanted Dwayne Johnson to explain why all of this happened, why Cody said no, Cody said not at WrestleMania, and then a week later, I'm taking back my right to be the main eventer alongside Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So that's one of the big reasons why, first of all. So I want to hear your thoughts on that one first.
Well, it's a plot hole. It's a plot hole. Everybody knows it's a plot hole. And it's funny, I didn't even think about it being a plot hole until I saw a comment on social media that said, hey, we have no idea why Cody gave up the placement in the first place, gave up the main event spot in the first place, and then suddenly decided to get it back. And yes, that 21-minute promo, which, by the way, at first I thought that should have been done in person in Glendale, Arizona, because that's such a good promo to not have on TV. Because again, it's my issue is that you can't rely on everybody to be on social media. I know social media is a predominant thing in today's society. I'm very aware. And yes, I feel like 9 out of 10 people have Instagram, or maybe, I don't know about 9 out of 10, but it's so predominant, right? But then you had the promo that you had on Friday, and then you're going, holy heck, that made sense on Instagram. I loved that 21-minute promo on social media. I thought it was brilliant. We got so much good context in there, even to the point where Dave LaGreca,
yeah, from Busted Open.
Yeah, even he was like, getting put on blast, and the backstage footage of the WrestleMania kickoff, I thought that was brilliant. But again, stuff like that I wanted to see on TV. It was brilliant. Like that's such a crucial piece of B-roll in our as the entertainment business called, but such a good extra clips that you're going, oh my goodness, that's what I want to see, the behind the scenes stuff. And they're blurring the lines of reality more and more and more, so it made sense. But no, again, brilliantly cut promo. I thought, again, at first I thought it should have been on TV until The Rock and Roman cut the promo that they did. More The Rock over Roman this past Friday on SmackDown. And oh my goodness. I mean, first of all, 34 days away until WrestleMania.
Yes.
You didn't even say it. We are 34 days away from WrestleMania 40. Lex, you and I are huge fans of WrestleMania 18 and that Rock and Hogan match.
Oh, yeah.
everybody knows that, if you're an active listener, if you're a dedicated listener, you know that The Rock and Hulk Hogan is the reason why I wanted to be at a WrestleMania in the first place. The face off, the Toronto crowd. Never in my wildest dreams, even when I went at WrestleMania 35, but now here we are 5 years later, that going to my second WrestleMania, never did I ever even imagine that I was going to see The Rock wrestle in person. Of course, Cody has to accept the challenge, but The Rock put out Rock Roman versus Cody Rollins night one of WrestleMania 40. And again, to me, even though it's not official yet, it's going to be, but you're going, holy crap, this is
This is
going
mind
to
blowing.
happen. Like, first of all, I was already happy to see Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 35. That was one half that set the dream, because that was amazing. That was a great opener to WrestleMania 35. And now the second half in a fighting capacity, it's unreal. But
In the Superdome, right?
yeah. In the Superdome, Silverdome, whatever it is. No, it's surreal. It's absolutely surreal that it's going to happen. But but yeah, what the other thing that concerns me, because I know I'm rambling on here, it's just, boy, can The Rock talk. And I think it's going to become a massive problem as the weeks go by with how long these promos are.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for the story itself, but everything else is getting hit hard. Everything else is not, that the rest of the SmackDown felt so rushed. The Bailey Dakota moment of Dakota turning on Bailey, it felt quick, rushed. Braun Breaker.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit paced. Everything was paced a little bit, a little bit weirdly after that. But I mean, like, here's the thing: it's The Rock came from a time where I mean, like, he could get away with it. I mean, he even said it himself. I'm the boss now. Basically, it's it's like, I'm not just the head of WWE. I'm the head of. I'm on the board of directors of TKO, and that means I'm your boss. And even he wasn't the boss, even though, the previous boss was in there for the This Is Your Life segment with Mick Foley. He and Mick Foley went 25 minutes in that segment, and it was a fun segment. Don't get me wrong. It was great, but he took 25 minutes out of 2 hours of Monday Night Raw. And think about that. It's been how long now since Monday Night Raw has been at 3 hours? 2 hours back then. That was an eternity. But The Rock did it well. But and he's doing the same thing now. But now he's the boss, which is interesting now, because that brings in a new element of the whole, boss and worker kind of thing that was a prevalent thing back in the Attitude Era.
And it's funny, because we all complain about Raw being 3 hours. Actually, Chico states it basically once a week, as if it was the first time he's saying the whole thing that he wants to be a 2-hour Raw. Good Lord, Chico. But it's amazing that we complain about Raw being 3 hours, and it's true. It's long as heck. It's annoying, yet somehow it looks really, really good if you have The Rock on there cutting the length of the promo that he did. That was a 40-minute segment. This past Friday. It started off with Roman, it went to commercial, and then The Rock went off and did what he did. Again, just astounds me. I'm just worried that, again, everybody else is going to be affected the rest of the way. And look, right now, to me, it breaks my heart, but Bailey Io is what is the bigger story compared to Becky Rhea.
Yes.
That about it. But all of a sudden, it's starting to kind of like being diminished, because its fault is that it's on SmackDown. Because now you're going to have The Rock and Roman and Cody, who's going to show up next week on SmackDown the rest of the way. For Bailey and Io, it hurts, because this was like, that is a main event worthy match, and it's slowly, little by little, losing that status because of The Rock. And again, it's The Rock. And yes, if I was booking this whole thing, I'm 100% putting that proposed tag team match as your main event of WrestleMania Night 1. It doesn't matter what everybody else does. You have The Rock. This is such a big storyline. It's going to affect Night 2 of WrestleMania. It's your main event. No matter what. I know there are people saying that, no, it should be the women, or it should be maybe Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. I completely get it, but I'm sorry. This is so big. And now the implications of this tag team match, if Cody and Rollins wins, there's no bloodline interference whatsoever in the main event, which, frankly, we could have used that for every other Roman match in these last 3 years.
Yep.
If Rock and Roman win, the bloodline is there at full force. All hell breaks loose. And
And
I
both of those scenarios, I think, are probably going to be just as compelling as anything, because, of course, you want to see Roman and Cody one-on-one against each other, no interruptions, and like whatever win it is, it's going to be a clean 1, 2, 3 without any interruptions. However, there are a lot of things that could be happening, and a lot of things that who said it? I don't remember who said it yesterday, last a couple of weeks ago, but like an Avengers kind of thing happening during the Cody Road. There you go.
That
There
was
you
me.
go.
It was me. I said it.
And the whole, yeah, exactly, that kind of thing, where everything just comes together in this in this amazing climax with Cody Rhodes winning the championship, of course, and the championship, of course, and eventually just there's this real feeling of like actual, like, real resolution to the entire storyline. Same time, there's at the same time, there's just so much that could continue to go, and continue to go right, and continue to go wrong as well too, within the storyline and everything.
Look,
But
sorry. Did you want
oh, no,
to?
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that. I mean, from what it looks like, that's an easy Roman win. I don't think that Rock or Roman eat the pin the night before. Roman is quote unquote projected to lose, which I think we're all assuming for now. But to be honest, even like Rock and Roman winning makes sense, because I think we're going to get a lot of suspenseful moments in that main event the following night on April 7th. That it just, I think for entertainment purposes, it's going to be. I think it's going to be more intriguing. I know that you and I, wherever we are sitting at Lincoln Financial Field, will probably need defibrillators nearby, or all paramedics on every section entrance. But it's going to be a very, I mean, just that alone. And again, I presume that Cody and Seth will say yes. It looks like we're going to be gearing up for one of the most heart-stopping main events of all time at a WrestleMania. It is going to be something. It's shaping up to be really, really, really good. And it's gonna be crazy. It's
exactly.
gonna be, I don't know how else to phrase it. It's going to be special. It is going to be something else.
Mhm.
I can't believe this is the path that we're. Did you think this was going to be the path when The Rock showed up, first of all, on that January 1st show, Lex?
Not at all. And that's the thing, and that's the thing that I think I would love to get into in the next section of Ringside Heat. After we go to break, I want to get into the idea that that number one, as Jim Ross loved to say, anything could happen in the WWE. First of all, number two, just Triple H saying what he said last year at the press conference after WrestleMania, after the world was disappointed that Cody didn't win against Roman Reigns. And that is just, and it's starting to ring true even more now. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about all of these things. And you're with Jose, you're with Lex, and you're with Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. Back up these promotional considerations. Welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. Lex Tan at Lex Tan Media, Jose Taboada at Taboada93, and we're continuing the conversation here about the most electrifying man in the sports and entertainment, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, head or board of directors rather of TKO. And when we were, and here's the thing. One thing that just rings true for me. One thing that rings true for me ever since the loss at WrestleMania last year, 39, and Triple H saying there is more to the story, and there is more of a story that's going to be told, and you are going to love what's going to happen. And I believe it was John or Steve who said maybe a few weeks ago, when Cody gave up his WrestleMania spot to The Rock. And one of them said, there's going to be a story being told here, and it's going to be maybe even better than any of us could have ever thought
could
of
have
ourselves.
imagined. Yeah, they did say that. And I mean, and that was all said, I think the week after the Royal Rumble. And look, I'll repeat my thoughts that I said on that episode. I think that's episode 119 or 120 or something, 118 maybe.
Which you can
Some
find on Spotify.
Yeah, of course you can find it under whatever you get your podcasts. Um, I was saying that I was still so skeptical because just because of the reports that came in, and it kind of sucks that dirt sheets, in this case do exist because any suspension of disbelief is gone. And it genuinely looked like, and it still feels like that they really wanted that one-on-one match.
Mm-hmm.
It does not sound like they pivoted because of the reaction. And I don't know if I'll ever believe that this was all part of the story. It doesn't sound like it. So it feels like with Triple H saying that last year, it kind of fluked out in this way because of how everything unfolded and because of the behind the scenes reports that we were all getting. I would love for it to be a work. Don't get me wrong, but it just sounds too real, especially because of the change and then Cody coming out saying it was BS and everything, and Cody's face kind of all told the whole story too when he handed over the main event to The Rock, and it'll never feel like authentic. I guess I don't know how else to phrase it.
Here's the thing though. It's you could also argue that a lot of the things that happened with Vince McMahon and the Attitude Era, you could argue that a lot of those things just somehow fell into place. Like it was a fluke. That a lot of fluky things might have happened that contributed to WWF winning the Monday Night Wars. I mean, like for instance, like Stone Cold Steve Austin gets dropped on his head by Owen Hart, but has to go on the shelf because his neck is broken. Guess who steps up? Like the most electrifying man in all of entertainment.
Of course.
And nobody could have called that. Yes, you could probably look back on it now and say, yeah, there's there was something cooking, for lack of a better term.
Sure.
But in the moment, you could not have seen that The Rock was going to be the guy that was going to help not just the WWF cope without Stone Cold Steve Austin, but then somehow elevate it even more. And then when Stone Cold got back and got healthier and was able to go back in ring shape, then those two those two things collided and made things even better. Now, of course, WCW had its own faults and everything, finger poke of doom and all that, but it's like you can argue that, like, yes, Triple H saying what he said, I would say, and considering that it might have been a fluke that all of this happened, and that we are getting exactly what Triple H said, but not in the way Triple H maybe thought it was going to happen. But now we're going, but now we're seeing it, but now we're seeing it actually unfold in this way, and I think it's even I think it's even more authentic than it probably could have been. What if original plans were supposed to go through?
Yeah.
And because you
Yeah,
can,
I think so. Yeah.
because you
I
can
get what you're
see,
saying.
because you can see, like with Rock and Roman, like if this was real, if it was real that Rock and Roman were going to take that spot at WrestleMania 40 for themselves, and Cody saying hello, shake hands, look, I get it, what's best for business, whatever like that, and then Cody changing his mind and whatever like that, and not and basically basically I would see where The Rock would feel, The Rock would feel screwed by this, because that's similar to what had happened to Bret Hart and Vince McMahon at the night of the Montreal Screwjob. McMahon told Bret Hart, everybody told Bret Hart, oh yeah, disqualification, blah blah blah, you're gonna drop the title tomorrow at Raw, and nobody told Bret Hart, and it just happened right in front of our faces, right there, boom. Bret Hart got screwed. And so I'm thinking that there's also maybe, and maybe this really is, maybe they did find out and talk about it, that it was really best for business for this to happen. But now taking that part of what is real and what is authentic and putting that into the story, that seems authentic to me.
Yeah. I get your point. It's just tough for me. I hope you're right. I do. I hope you're right. And again, it'll culminate very, very soon. I don't know. And like I said, there was always going to be a part of me that just wondered, God, was this the true path? Because even like last year they wanted Rock Roman, and it didn't work out. So I do hope you're right. I do. I think for everybody's sake, I hope you're right. But
Mhm.
God, I don't know.
Well, whatever was the original path, or quote unquote the true path, as you would say, the path that we're getting right now. That's the thing. I think that's the one thing that we all need to, and a lot of people are focusing on, is that this is that that this is the path that they're going on right now, and it's playing out right in front of us. And
It's playing out phenomenally. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And probably, and I personally think it's probably playing out better than if it was going to be Rock and Roman. It's playing out better than what they originally than what Rock and Roman originally planned, because they did say this was going to happen. They did in Young Rock. The Rock put that up there in one of one of those clips in the third season. That little itty bitty Joe watching The Rock at WrestleMania. You see the little graphics there. Joe Anoa'i, aka Roman Reigns, future WrestleMania opponent with The Rock. Or something like that.
That's your foundation.
That's I'm thinking that there's something more to that. That's one of the reasons why The Rock and Roman Reigns wanted to put something together. They wanted to do that, and they used Young Rock in order to show that, in order to kind of tease that a little bit, because there was a lot of things in Young Rock which is fun. No, don't get me wrong, I love that, and I lament the fact that they didn't want to continue it after season 3, but it's one of those things that I think that that they were teasing for us eventually, that they were teasing us doing the long game eventually, because I knew The Rock, look at him, he's still in shape, maybe not ring shape. Don't get me wrong.
We'll
He may
see
not
that
be in ring
very,
shape.
very soon. Won't
Yeah,
we?
exactly.
I'm
exactly.
really worried about that too. There's a lot of factors to be worried. There's as great as the tag match is, there are a lot of, I think, potential concerns that everybody has with that. Seth's leg, is Roman Cody, are they going to come out healthy out of this? Can The Rock still go, or is he going to be huffing and puffing when he gets to the end of the ramp? It's a lot of questions.
And there's another thing. There's another thing about that too, because I remember in his, in the lead up to the John Cena matches, you would actually see that The Rock actually in his gym has a wrestling ring, and he's got and he's got local wrestlers in there with him, and wrestling matches with him in the ring, in that home ring. Now, of course, your home ring and your gym is different from being up on the grandest stage of them all of WWE. Whether it's Raw, whether it's SmackDown, whether it's WrestleMania, WWE is the biggest ring that you will ever wrestle in, and that is all a different factor. Now, all that being said, The Rock also snapped a muscle, or his pectoral muscle during the second match with John Cena, even though he was practicing and he was as well going through it. And maybe that might have been a freak injury. Maybe that might have been.
Oh, 1,000%. There's no. How the heck do you? I think all accidents like that are freaks. How the heck can you suddenly go in? All right, John, get me this rope and tear my pec. Let's go. Like, who the heck?
No, I mean, like, but then, like, if you were in actual ring, if you're not in ring shape, those things can happen a little bit more often. But if you are in ring shape, then like, then as they say, your body builds up, calluses. Your body gets used. Your body gets used to the bumps.
But look like regular sports, right? I mean, I've seen I've seen a bunch of football players, they're making plays, and they get tackled consistently and they can withstand to it. But once one accidentally misplacement of a tackle or a landing, and it's over, right? Even though after all that training, it'll happen. And that's basically what happened to The Rock. You could be 125% ready, but there'll be those instances where out of nowhere, just bam, right? I mean, Cody tore his pec in the gym just because he was trying to prove to somebody that he was stronger, right? Like, which, okay, that I just realized saying that out loud is not the best example, but but I'm just saying
it is a freak accident, though. It was a freak accident.
I'm just saying that this stuff happens, right? Yeah. So we'll see what happens in 5 weeks, but yeah, there's a little bit of cause for good. I know I derailed the conversation a little bit there, but
no, this is cool. Hey man, stream of consciousness,
But yeah, it's that like the conditions of everybody, Fortnite too, and because I mean Seth is going to do double duty, and he's had the leg injury, and it cost him the match at Elimination Chamber. He was supposed to have with Bronson Reed, and it looks to be 100% okay. It looks like he's cruising along here. Obviously, you don't want Cody or Roman really hurt or get into a freak accident, because the next night is right now shaded to be one of the biggest WrestleMania main events of all time. So you you want to reduce the risk as much as you can, but if this is the direction that they're going to go, okay, let's just pray that everybody's safe. And for The Rock's sake, just make sure that he's still well, because yes, you can be ring shape and ready, but there's also the consistency of doing this on a regular basis. And when was his last match?
Well,
yeah,
it's probably good. It probably is.
no. When was his last match?
Oh, when was his last match? Oh, when was his last match? If you don't count the 6-second match against Eric Rowan,
at WrestleMania 32,
it was
yes.
John Cena too.
Exactly. Look at that. 11 years since his last match. Now that you say that,
which is oh man,
11 years ago.
That's weird.
It's too big of a gap. That's gonna be, again. I'm sure The Rock is gonna be solid. Don't get me wrong. It's The Rock.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I don't want fans to kind of ignore the 11-year gap, and they shouldn't. And if you're ignoring the 11-year gap just because he's The Rock, come on now. Yes, he can still cut a promo, but the in-ring work is a completely different thing here. Let's not get crazy. 11 years is a long time. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm just realizing as we record that it's been 11 years. I can't think of another match.
No, not since. Well, I mean, again, 6-second match, but that doesn't count. It's just it was a rock bottom, and that was it. Right?
Uno, dos, tres, done. Yeah,
exactly. But and speaking of which, Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. 11 years since The Rock's last full match in the WWE on the biggest stage of them all, and at that point he hadn't. And then the year before, John Cena, when he faced John Cena the first time, it was 7 years in between matches that he actually had. Because in 2011 he left the Goldberg match in 2003.
Yes, after WrestleMania 19. No, wait, what am I saying? He had that match at the Garden at WrestleMania 20. Rock and Sock Connection versus Evolution 2004.
And then, but then he also had, the. Oh yeah, that's right.
Goldberg came after WrestleMania 19.
And then
a Backlash, and then he left.
And then and he came back, and he came back with Justin Roberts saying, "Oh, the host of WrestleMania 20, or sorry, WrestleMania whatever year it was,
27,
27, and it starts it off with after 7 long years, finally, and that reminds me of different.
Well, hold on a minute. So 7 years of 7 years.
And it reminds me because remember because we were talking about earlier on in the show about Rock versus Hulk Hogan, and March 17 is not too far away. March 17 of this year is not too far away. And at that point, it would have been 22 years. 22 years since Rock and Hogan at Skydome in WrestleMania X8.
Time flies.
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, and it's like how that like, and I wrote and WWE recently posted up a their synopsis of Hollywood Rock, an hour-long video of the 3 months that he was Hollywood Rock.
I can't believe we haven't gotten that theme back yet, but I'm waiting.
And I remember I was in the arena. I was at Air Canada Centre / Scotiabank Arena in 2003, February 27, 2003. I think it was 26 or 27, one of those days. Either way, the last Monday of February 2003, where he cut that promo, stronger than a bear, faster to the buck, the biggest thing to hit Canada because the Maple Leafs suck, right? And I can't believe it's been 21 years since that promo. It's been 21 years since I was in the arena and last saw The Rock wrestle it live.
I've never seen The Rock in person, so that's why I'm like freaking out internally. But yes, 11 years between matches is one to look. Okay, unless if the viewers or the commentators want to correct us on when his last match was, pretty sure it was that WrestleMania 29 match. Do not count WrestleMania 32. Don't go in the comments. It was Eric Rowan. Yes, the bell rang, but come on, a full-length, properly worked match. No.
Great man though, Eric Redbeard, awesome person. Honestly,
fantastic.
I met him a couple of months ago, and he's one of the best one of the best people in this industry.
Very solid dude. I know he's been through a lot, but he's tough as nails. So props to him.
Yeah, definitely. But man, it's but man, like just some of these Rock moments, man. Just like some of these moments are just like now they just seem so far away, and a little bit of a side note here. I've been getting into Doctor Who, the BBC's Doctor Who from the new one, not the old classic version, but from
Sure, sure.
2005 onward. And it's like because of HD and because of because of HD technology and stuff like that, it everything feels like it's current and everything feels like it's new and everything and modern. But then like I remember, but then like the first season of new Doctor Who was 2005, which is just 18 years ago, and it's just crazy how time flies. And I know the WWE works faster than anything out there, any other intellectual property out there. But wow.
Yeah.
I still it's still crazy to think that like that these things can be timeless. And WrestleMania 40, it looks like it's going to be one of those timeless matches that that anybody from any generation could look back onto, hopefully fingers crossed, in the way that we look back onto Rock and Hogan from WrestleMania March 17, 2002 at 18.
You're not wrong. And again, it's gearing up to be we've said it already earlier, but because we're repeating ourselves, but it's gearing up to be something special. I really hope it is. I hope it's not like I don't think it'll be flat and but that tag match alone, I think it'll be carried by Cody and Roman, I think, because again, I'm sure Rollins is going to be, unless Rollins kind of forces himself to be like, no, I can do this, then we'll see. But I guess I expect the match to be carried by Cody and Roman. Rollins will be paced out. I think Rock will be paced out as well. But I'm sure they'll find their moments mixed in between all that and make it happen. So there's a lot to look forward to. There's definitely a lot to look forward to. And we're getting close. We're getting closer and closer.
Just a little bit over a month away from WrestleMania 40 over at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Lex will be there, Jose will be there, and you might possibly be there as well. If you're going to WrestleMania 40, reach out to us. Let's meet up. Let's put you on the show. And hey, you know what? What could happen? Anything could happen at WrestleMania. Anything could happen to WWE. But when we come back, we will be talking a little bit about AEW Revolution and Sting's last match of his career, and that's going to be an interesting thing to think about, because we got Colin coming in next week to talk about AEW Revolution. We'll get into that a little bit later as we come back from the break on Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960, back up to these promotional considerations. Welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. You can follow Ringside Heat on all of your social media at ringside_heat, and as well on facebook.com/group/ringside heat. I'm Lex Tan, host and producer of the show. Alongside me, Jose Taboada. You can follow Jose at Taboada93. You can follow me at Lex Tan Media. And as we said, we're going to coming back from the break, or going out of the break, whatever the wording may be. Yeah, whatever it is. Anyway, it is AEW Revolution. It is less than an hour before before the main card starts up. And if you're watching us, you're listening to us, you're watching and listening during 0 hour. And let's look at the matches that we have over here. So we have, in no particular order right now, Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale versus Julia Hart and Sky Blue. We've got the All-Star 8-man, that's during the 0 hour there. All-Star 8-man scramble. Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Hook, Lance Archer, Wardlow, Magnus, Brian Cage. All of those men in an 8-man scramble right there. And geez. Okay. And then we've got the FTR versus John Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli. We've got Christian Cage and Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship. We've got Will Ospreay versus Takeshita as well. the Continental Crown Championship, Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson. We got the AEW International Championship on the line. Orange Cassidy, who's still the AEW International Champion, which is amazing. I love it, versus Roderick Strong. We've got Tony Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo for the AEW Women's World Championship. We've got the AEW World Championship in a three-way dance between Hangman Adam Page, Swerve Strickland, and the AEW champion Samoa Joe. And Sting's last match, tornado tag match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. It's Darby Allin and Sting putting the titles on the line versus Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the AEW EVPs.
There's only one thing I really care about, and it's Sting.
Yeah,
I have
pretty
no
much.
problem saying that.
Yep.
Look. I mean, everybody knows that we're not the craziest AEW peeps there, but yeah, no, Sting is really the only thing that, at least for me, is just the only thing that's of note, because this is it. This is gonna be it. I was, some friends asked me to predict, and I said, okay, I'll do it for the heck of it. The Sting leave a champion, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if Sting's. I don't know if they're gonna want Sting to go out on his back, like the traditional retirement trope in wrestling. But yeah, I mean, really, at the end of the day, right? It's like, for me, it's more about the career than the match itself. Like to me, the match doesn't really attract my attention, only because this is going to be it for Sting, and what a run. Yeah, what a run he's had. Obviously, selfishly, and again, this is the pro WWE side coming out of me, that I wish that it was a more successful, pain-free run. I know that injury just completely sideswiped Sting, and it sucks that they couldn't do much after that with Sting. And like, God, like, I feel like we were robbed of a championship run. I feel like they were going to give him the WWE championship. At least I hope. At least that's what I want to believe in my head.
Right.
But no, you can't. No, he's like such a pioneer for helping keep WCW on the radar. He helped TNA, like, in those glory days. I would say that's like those are the TNA glory days, when he was around and still working in his prime, just literally. And like, I know he's called an icon. I think it deserves the term icon. Phenomenal performer. I'm surprised that his career has went on as long as it did, because he's 60 something, right?
He is. Yeah.
He's a workhorse. So it'll feel weird, to not have Sting anymore in the business, but also just, again, a very, very, very special career, and one that I don't think is gonna be ever forgotten. Literally an icon in the business. So such a big loss, and I'm happy that he's going on in his terms. I know I think I don't think I said it on this stream on our podcast, but obviously I do wish it was like a one-on-one match instead of a tag match. Yeah, to maybe put somebody over. I guess in this case, it could still happen. Although I don't think the Bucks need to go over, but no, it'll be. I'm sure it'll be an emotional time for a lot of wrestling fans, especially those that were really, really, really passionate fans of Sting. It's going to be a big one tonight. So I'm sure that'll be one special match and one special conclusion to the career.
Yeah, and you know what? Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to see Sting during his prime and during his days in WCW, nor in TNA. But as a person who I guess fancies himself as a person who knows his history of wrestling, and it's Sting. Sting is his own thing. It's like you're right. He is an icon. He is somebody that that the wrestling business wouldn't be the same without. Once he finally hangs up his boots for the last time later on tonight, and I would love to. And yeah, I agree. The whole thing about WWE, him in his WWE run. Again, it's one of those things where he should not have been losing to. Losing to the NWO or whatever. He shouldn't have lost that match at WrestleMania.
The Triple H. That is unforgivable.
Yeah,
forever unforgivable.
And that's the thing is that, like, it's also there's also the idea that it could have been, that was maybe more of Triple H's call, because he's always been for the last 20 some odd years involved with creative, but it's also a person at the top. It's also the call of the person at the top, and how petty that person at the top could was and still can be.
It's one of the more puzzling WrestleMania moments of all time, for sure. It's up there. It's up there. I think my other puzzling moment is ironically also with Triple H, with Booker T not winning the world title at WrestleMania.
That's another one. Yeah, exactly.
Look at that. Triple H still in the picture. Yeah, and again, it just astounds me that, again, it makes me sad that was Sting's only WrestleMania. I'm like, God, it should have been other WrestleMania moments, but
yeah.
And I'll always believe that Sting would have made the Invasion storyline so much better, because that was not the craziest storylines in 2001. And when you don't have all the big names in there, it stinks. No pun intended. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and in that sense, I don't think I can. In that sense, and I don't think you can blame the person at the top of the WWF at that time, because of the weird ways the contracts were made by Turner back in the WCW days with those big names. And so like there's a lot of things you can lay. You could lay blame at the head of the WWF at that time, but I don't think this is one of those. Fortunately / unfortunately, I don't think this is something that you can lay blame on him for.
Yeah, and look, at the end of the day, right? Like, I don't want Sting's career to be focused on WWE, because unfortunately it wasn't like the craziest of all. It could have been an amazing run, and it was even for, like, he was 50 something at that point. Like, still, he was killing it. He was having a good run. He was.
And the last couple of years, in his 60s, he's been doing some crazy spots out there.
Sorry, continue.
No, crazy spots out there, and it's like, and you see guys like like Sting in his 60s, PCO in his mid 50s, doing what he's doing, and The Rock even coming back. He's freaking 50. What is he now? He's like 54. 53, 54 years old.
And
How?
That's why I'm happy that Sting had the career that he had. Again, like, I'm so happy that he became bigger than WWE, that he never needed WWE generally. Again, I'm just talking as a selfish fan, but obviously, take off the WWE bias, and that he doesn't need it. He doesn't need WWE to have a phenomenal career. He had it. Again, all the different reincarnations, Surfer Sting, and Black and White Sting, and then carrying that on the rest of the way there. He transcended everywhere that he went. He performed, he shined anywhere that he was in his career. And again, like, what an AEW was the right home for him at the end of the day, because it goes back to the Turner days. It's along, like, the tropes. I want to say tropes. Like, it's along the lines of, like, what he was really known for, what helped him get there. And I think
I
think AEW was that perfect home for him, the non quote unquote sports entertainment side of wrestling. So hats off to Sting. I think I want a team prediction of Sting winning. I think they do lose the titles. Because again, I think Sting is one of those that wants to get back to the business, and I think that he goes on his back tonight. But
which twin do you think he's gonna get it?
Which what?
Which twin is gonna get gonna get the pin over Sting, do you think?
Give me Nick.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Give me Nick. I have no idea. I do not know. I really, really don't. But it'll be an emotional moment for everybody. Know that about it.
And here's what I will say though, just to play devil's advocate here though, as I still feel, as you do with Sting, eating the pin, giving back to the business, and going up the traditional way, because Sting is one of those last stalwarts in the industry, one of those last people in the industry of that classic mentality, if you I'd say.
Right.
But at the same time, Edge, your boy Edge, when he retired the first time from the WWE, because of his injury, they allowed him to win the championship and keep the championship, and
then relinquish it,
and then relinquish it the next day. And that's and That's something they wouldn't even do for Bret Hart, but they did it for Edge.
Did they? Edge knew he was already going to retire the next day, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think it was like between the Sunday and the Monday that he found out that was it, right?
No, it was maybe a little bit closer to the date, but there was some time before before WrestleMania that Edge knew that this was it.
Damn. Yeah, because aside from look, apart from Edge, there's not many examples of retirements with titles.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't. I can't think of anybody else other than Edge. In fact, I forgot about Edge, ironically.
Mm-hmm.
But can you think of anybody else that went out as a champ?
No, I not off the top of my head, personally speaking. And that's one of the reasons why, if they would do this for Adam Copeland, and Adam Copeland is in AEW now. I mean, what if McMahon would be able to do that for Adam Copeland? I don't see why Tony Khan won't do that for Sting.
I'm sure Tony Khan would. I think it's a matter of Sting and what he wants to do here. I think. I don't know. I think it's not to compare them, but one was a forced retirement that you kind of want everybody to see that happy note because you're about to get such sad news, right? Like you're about to get a literally life-changing decision, and you don't want like that decision to come off the heels of losing a title. Right? This is by Sting's choice. This is like Sting saying it's time. So I don't know. And again, off the top of my head, I really can't think of. I feel like there's some other person with either the WWE Championship that's again in my head that I'm going, yeah, like he went out as a champ, and I cannot. Oh wow, okay, this is not the very not comparable to the other two, but just Stratus.
Yeah.
Unforgiven. She went out as a champion. I knew there was something on the tip of my tongue.
There it is.
Trish went out as a woman. She won the women's title and then retired and relinquished it. And won it, of course, in her hometown. So that's another example. I can't think of others. I really, really can't.
No, I can't. I can't think of it either. But like, hey, you know what? That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good record for Toronto there.
Great city. Great city.
Exactly. Best city in the world. Best city in the world, and in my theory, the birthplace of what we know today as professional wrestling in North America.
You guys are really running that narrative.
Yes, we are.
I can't really defend that one, folks. But all right.
Don't worry, folks. You'll be able to see it eventually, especially when we put out our little documentary about professional wrestling in Bizarro World. Anyway, we've run out of time here on the show here, but yeah, this was a fun one-on-one with you, Jose. I really appreciate just having you and me on the podcast right now, and just shooting.
Look at that. I don't know if you noticed, but there's a trend here, Lex.
Yeah.
Is that when there's just one-on-one episodes with me, they're really good.
I can't argue with that.
No, seriously, fun episode. I'm sure next week is gonna be just as fun. I'm happy we're on YouTube and all this jazz. Again, lot to look forward to. The road continues, and then I'm sure it'll get even spicier as time goes on.
Ringside Heat on News Talk Sauga 960 AM. Thank you for listening and tuning in, and also listening on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spreaker.com. Thank you to Jose at Taboada 93, and thank you to you, our listeners, for tuning in and listening to us each and every week here for 127 episodes. I'm Lex Tan. You can follow me at Lex Tan Media. Ringside Heat, you can follow on social media at ringside_heat. We'll be back next week with more great wrestling talk here on Sauga 960 AM, whom you can follow at Sauga 960 AM as well. Take care, and we'll talk to you next week. Ringside Heat, we remember the things that you care not to remember. Or what is it again?
We remember the things that you want to forget.
There you go.
See you, everybody.
Take care.